What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Game Plan. It's NFL Week 18. Statsational is back from his whirlwind holiday Christmas 7 Fishes Dinners tour. Lots of fishes. If you have 3 7 Fishes dinners, that's 21 fishes. It's a lot of fishes. Do you eat all of the fishes, or do you leave some of the fishes over, John?
No, I enjoy my seafood, so yeah, I partake. We don't really, we don't do 7 different fish, kind of, which is the tradition, but we just make a whole bunch of fish dishes.
Unacceptable.
I know.
Unacceptable. That's all right. Next time, invite me. I have a fish dish that I prepare.
We don't do smoked salmon. We don't do any smoked salmon.
No lox.
No lox.
Man. Well,
for breakfast, maybe.
You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. All right.
Trust me, many a Sunday smoked lox or lox in the Alessia household. Many Sunday mornings.
Yeah, they have to be. All right. So it's NFL Week 18, and it's a weird week. Teams have stuff to play for. Teams have nothing to play for. How does that affect gambling? Betting on the games gets crazy. You could tell a little bit by the lines, but I want your insights on a lot of this stuff because it's crazy, right? And of course, I have to start out by saying it is Thursday morning, and we got great news from Damar Hamlin that he seems to be making a full recovery. Everything seems positive, so we can really get back to talking about the game and talking about football and talking about bets and all that stuff. That is a lot less important than player health and those concerns that we've had the last few days. So it's good to be getting back to it. That's why we're a little later than usual with this, but I just couldn't feel comfortable really putting out a lot of content until we had a sense of what was going on here, because certain things are more important. So with all that being said, let's get into it. And we'll talk first about the Saturday slate. There's a 2-gamer, John. I love this 2-gamer. I like it better than the Sunday slate. 2 games. First one, KC at the Raiders. Chiefs need to win. They win. They're getting the bye week, I believe, because this Buffalo-Cincinnati game looks like it will be canceled permanently. So KC definitely looking for this win, going up against Jared Stidham and the Raiders. KC, 9.5-point favorites in this one. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, Stidham certainly looked pretty good last week, didn't he? Against the number 1 defense in football, put 34 points up on the board.
To me, that was one of the most shocking things I've seen in all my years.
Yeah, you can't be shocked that the game was close. Can't be shocked that it went to overtime, but shocked that they put 34 points up. That's, I think, where the shocking.
Yeah, against the 49ers. How much better he looked at quarterback than Derek Carr had looked. I don't know what is going on here.
Yeah, listen, I've never been a Derek Carr fan. Who knows? It's a similar situation to Denver. We'll get to them in a bit too, but it's like, maybe, who knows? Maybe there was a little dislike for Carr as there might have been for Hackett. Who knows? Because that team's playing better as well. You just don't know. We're not in the locker rooms there. Kansas City hasn't looked all that great. They're winning. I believe they've got like 4 in a row now, but haven't been impressive. They haven't been Kansas. Maybe that's a good thing for them. They're kind of under the radar here. Obviously, we had the terrible game on what was supposed to be maybe the game of the year Monday, and then that just awful scene. And like you said, we've got some good news here this morning. Hopefully that's going to continue, and he's going to make a full recovery there. But from a football aspect, maybe it's good that Kansas City for once is kind of under the radar. Everything's about Buffalo. Cincinnati's kind of been coming on, and we don't have an outcome now in that game, and we probably won't. So maybe Kansas City's is laying low, but sure looks like a lot of points just on the recent trend that we've been looking at here with Vegas playing so well. Kansas City has not really been able to blow anyone out, going back to that Houston game where they go to overtime. I mean, it could have easily lost that one. So Kansas City does have the ability to kind of turn it on. When we look at the money, it's mostly coming in on Vegas. And I think that's just the recency bias here that we're looking at. So 90% of the cash coming in on the Vegas side, only 55% of the tickets. So probably some pretty sharp money coming in there. But the line has moved up. It's tricky to look at the line. I'm going to give everyone a warning here because the opening lines happened before we necessarily knew all of the playoff scenarios. So you're going to see some drastic changes in the line. So you really have to look at maybe how the line has moved since Monday as opposed to where it moved when it opened. These lines open prior to the games on Sunday. So you got to be careful there. So since it went to 10.5, it has creeped down towards in the Raiders' favor. So down to that 9 to 8.5, depending on the sports book that you have. So you got to keep that in mind. And like I said, on the game, most of the money coming in on Vegas, and the over is catching 2 times the money that the under is on this one. I don't have a strong opinion myself. I don't know if you do on the betting angles on this one.
Yeah, I think Vegas is the side here. Home team. Now, there's Studham looked like a real quarterback last week, and that's really what's important. Like, if you looked at this game and it was Derek Carr and the Raiders were plus 9.5, you'd be like, oh, I'm taking the Raiders, because you would think that at home, they, especially the way KC has been playing, not blowing anyone out, as you said. I'm not paying. I don't want to lay 10 on the road. It's that simple. I think you just don't want to be laying 10 on the road. And for any team, and KC has not been blowing anybody out. Vegas has a real offense. Devontae Adams on that team. Waller finally healthy, looking pretty decent last week. Hunter Renfrow doing things. And of course, Josh Jacobs, good matchup for him. So there's no way I'm laying 10 here. I actually I'm with the Sharps. The Sharp app points out the Sharps. You're the Sharp. I'm with the Sharps. I'm on the Raiders side. I don't think you need to play it, but I'm on the Raiders side of this one for sure on the betting or nothing. As far as DFS angles go, this is a 2-game slate, right? We don't get the main slate. I wish it was part of the main slate, because this would be the only game I would play anybody from. I'd just be like, I'm using everybody from this game. But the problem is it's not. It's on a 2-gamer, and it's on a really good 2-gamer where there's 2 exciting games. I think you load up on the pieces from this one. There's just so much goodness on this 2-game. So I need to know how you deal with that, John, because we've got Pat Mahomes. Great. Of course I want to play Pat Mahomes. His pass catchers, Travis Kelce. Sure. Yeah. I want some of that. Jerick McKinnon's been doing good things. Flip side of this game, Devontae Adams, Waller, Josh Jacobs, all studs, and all will play the full game out. There is no rest for the weary here. There's no reason for the Raiders not to play the entire game to win, and they will. So I love the pieces from this game. For DFS purposes, the only thing that's holding them back is how good the Jacksonville offense looks as well. So there's a lot of fantasy goodness to be had here in this 2-gamer. So let's move on to the second one, because I think, it's Raiders or nothing for me in that one. I don't know if I want to make it an official play on Sharp app where I'll put it in the pick, but it's that side of this game for me for sure. Now, this next game, Jacksonville at home, must win. Up against the Titans. Dobbs, the quarterback. Romeo Dobbs. Josh Dobbs. No. All right. Not my best. Not my best.
You've done better.
So Dobbs at the quarterback position for Tennessee looked, okay and competent, I guess. But I think the spread is too low here, John, and you gotta fill me in if I'm wrong. So Jacksonville Titans win and you're in. This is a playoff game. Titans coming in with a third-string quarterback that they found on the trash heap a couple of weeks ago. That is not a good scene. To me, if Jacksonville can stop Derrick Henry, Tennessee will not be able to make a comeback. If Jacksonville can get off to a quick lead, really it's going to be hard for the Titans. But Titans are always in that situation, and they do tend to figure it out. On the Jacksonville side, you've got Trevor Lawrence, who's looked spectacular the last few weeks. Even last week, they didn't barely need him, rested him. The offense is clicking at the right time. Love Zay Jones, love Evan Ingram. I think Christian Kirk is going to be an underlooked piece on the slate because he hasn't done anything in a while. So I like the Jacksonville offense quite a bit for DFS purposes. But how do you see the bets going for this one?
Yeah, as I take a bite of some lunch here, but
thought I was going to talk a little more. Gonna keep it.
You're
going.
Always very verbose. I was giving it a shot, but
no.
Listen, that game last week, obviously, you got to throw it out from Tennessee's standpoint. Optimistic though, because I think the quarterback looked pretty good against a solid Dallas defense that hasn't maybe been as good in recent weeks, but still a pretty good defense to get a guy who's basically hasn't played in who knows how long.
I will say this: squad. Compliments to the Titans for quickly realizing that Malik Willis is a 0 right now, and this is an important game. You can't be training your new quarterback, or seeing what you got. This is for the playoffs. Kudos to them for at least not doing the, I don't know. I feel like going with Malik Willis would have been a disaster. He's horrible.
No, I mean,
not to say long-term, but he's horrible right now.
Exactly right. That's what I was going to say. I mean, just for this spot, can't go with him. You get a kid, smart kid, who at least has been around the game and gives you a little bit or a lot more maybe than Malik was giving you there. So absolutely right decision. It worked out where, listen, I mean, they only put 13 points up on the board. Let's not get too crazy, but he showed more. Listen, they dropped a ton of ball. It really wasn't his fault. In that game, they dropped about 3-4 passes that were easily catchable, extended drives, and who knows where that game goes. Because, 14-point game, but it was a lot closer than that 14 points, and the spread was 14. So really, Tennessee should have at a minimum covered that spread. But the Jacksonville side, I had a bet earlier. I have a futures bet from before the season on Jacksonville to win this division. So I've got a really interest in this game already. That was a bet that early in the year, I was laughing with my buddies. I'm like, this looks great. Jacksonville looked great. The entire middle of the season, I said, oh, well, that's, let's punted that one away. And now here they are. I'll take it. One game to go.
What's the what odds did you get on that one?
I want to say it was plus 800.
Oh, yeah.
It was, yeah. So obviously I've got an interest here. You know me, I'm not a hedge type of a person. The hedge play, of course, would be, you go ahead and take Tennessee. So and the nice thing with taking Tennessee there is I could get them with the points.
Let's cover that. Let's cover that. I know you're not a hedge guy, but this is a really fascinating area of sports betting that a lot of people don't understand. So I just want to take 2 minutes to cover that. Okay, so let's paint the scenario. And we're going to talk about this on the basis of $100, 1 unit, $100 play. Just for, I know that's not what you did, but for the purpose of this discussion. So you've got a unit on Jacksonville to win the division. That's an $800 win if it works out, right? You're sitting there, you're staring at it like, all right, what do I do with this? Well, you've got $100 at risk. You're going to win $800 here. You can take any number of plays. So I'll give you a couple scenarios and you tell me how you kind of work it. There's one scenario where you can essentially middle it, where you take Tennessee +6, Jacksonville wins, Tennessee covers the spread. You can win both sides of that. So now, and does that change your mind about if a hedge is worth doing? Here you can middle it. So you could do at least bet 1 unit, like to match your original bet on the Titans to get your money back if you don't win the bet. Like I would say you should do that.
Okay, so I'm gonna touch on it really quickly. I have a whole video on this, so just go over to the in the Sharp app in the Sharp Academy. Got a whole video on hedging, and I'll obviously go into a lot more detail than I will right now. Point one: most people when they put in these future type of bets, they do exactly what you just said. They're $100 better, and they bet 100 on that future at 8-1. I don't want you to do that. So if I was $100 better, I would have had this at $12 or $13 to win 100.
To win
then I'm not really concerned about the hedge at that point. What happens with most people is that $100 bet is way too high, and now it's like, oh well, I want to make sure I get something out of it because I risked the whole unit. So that's one. If you did do that, which 95% of you did on futures, and this is the time of year now, your futures are going to start they're either close to winning, going to win. You get to, you got Super Bowl winners, things like that you're going to start thinking about hedging during the conference championship weekend, and divisional winners this week. So if you did do that, I always recommend taking it, especially here when you have the dog, when you need the dog to lose, or you need the favorite to win in this case, to win your bet, then I like taking it with the points because I like catching the middle. I could win both of these bets now. If I was in that situation you just brought up, the $100 better, I could win $800 on this if Jacksonville just wins the game outright. I would bet this for $100 on the spread line. And if Jacksonville wins this game by a field goal, certainly possible in the realm of possibility, I now win my $800 on my future, and I could get another $100 here on the bet as opposed to taking it on the money line. So that's how I like to play. This is what I do on the Survivor bets when I'm hedging in Survivor, which makes a lot more sense because of small amount of money to win a large pool. I like hedging those with the point spread as well, as I'm usually going to be taking a favorite in Survivor pools.
Yeah, I love this concept when you're on these long-term plays, and like sometimes you get like a 40-1 or something even more insane, and you can hedge it a little bit, and it's like, wow, if these guys win, I'll make $8,000 or some amount that's very, very significant to where you're like, you know what, I might as well take a couple grand of that 8,000 potential winnings and make sure and just effectively lock it in. You can lock in profits for these using sharp hedging. So yeah, you're recommending against the spread. The other possibility would be to grab the Titans money line and you get plus 220 or plus 230, but you can't middle that. So you're effectively going to make a little more if you lose your bet, but at the expense of there's no possibility of getting your money back from the hedge. So I like your approach to it. I don't want to spend too much time on it. That's more stuff that, if you guys don't have the Sharp app, please, download it. And then you would just click on the Sharp Academy and you could see all of John's courses. It's all free on the Sharp app. Learn how to bet on sports. And John, for me, the most important just to get into that, the most important of the Sharp Academy videos are the ones that focus on bankroll and unit size discipline, which is to me the difference between somebody who can sports bet as not a degenerate for a long time versus somebody who's going to cause themselves trouble and always lose. If you effectively bet all of your money every single time and you chase losses, you will absolutely not be successful betting on that. To me is one of the ultimate truths of sports.
In DFS and sports betting and anything, trading stocks, our ego gets in the way. Most of us have a huge ego, especially when it comes to sports betting, because hey, we're all sports experts, right? We're all fans. We all watch the games. We're experts. So who are you to tell me who's going to win this game or how to bet? And for the most part, you're right. But where most people that I know who've been betting for 20, 30 years get it wrong is on that bankroll management side and just those little tips that I was just telling you about with the hedging. That's where people get it wrong. For me to tell you who I like in the game, I mean, you may be just as smart or smarter than I am when it comes to picking a game, but there is a proper way to actually manage your bankroll, and that's the key. And no matter how smart you are betting, if you're not doing it correctly from a risk management standpoint, eventually you're going to crap yourself out.
It's so important, and it's such a component of sports betting that people do. And the same thing with, I mean, that's how really where I came up in DFS was very much talking about how to do it disciplined, how to have an approach that was sustainable over the long term. That's literally was effectively my brand for when I was getting started, because I'd kind of figured out a system for that where you can survive for a long time and you just can't chase. And it's a really big emphasis on a lot of the content in the Sharp app, and of course the Sharp app, Sharp Academy training course. So make sure to check that out. All right, we'll move on to Sunday slate, John. And there's a lot of games. So these two games on Saturday, again, I love, I feel like, Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, all of his pass catchers, Zay Jones and Evan Ingram, and of course Christian Kirk and even Travis Etienne, and on the Titan side, you could play these guys, right? But that's a Saturday slate.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick, because you had asked. And
actually, how do you attack a two-gamer? Actually, before we move on, give me your technique, because you're a top 20 in the world. You're effectively one of the best DFS players in the world by leaderboard, by proof, by the $100,000 wins you show me every third day, which is starting to get annoying.
I wish, but yeah, no. Listen, again, it always matters. Are you playing 150 lines? You're playing one.
Yeah, how are you mass entering this one?
So I mass enter. So I'm going to have to look at it closer, but when you have a game, this is two pretty good games, as you mentioned, right? So I'll probably want to make sure that I've got the quarterback paired up with maybe two or minimum two, either running back or wide receiver, tight end. That's probably the way I'm going to possess. I'm going to go attack this one. But what I really wanted to mention is in a situation like this where both games look pretty good, you're probably going to want to be under the market on, let's say, the most chalky picks in a situation like this, because I think there's a good chance that perhaps maybe, and when I say, let's say the quarterbacks, I haven't looked at it close enough. Mahomes will probably be the number one quarterback on the slate, let's say.
I think it would be Mahomes, Lawrence.
Well, Lawrence, because when you start, I'm looking at the prices now. All right, Dobbs, I'm gonna discount Dobbs, but Stidham is probably going to get some love because of how good he did this weekend, but I don't mind being over on that and being under on a Mahomes and even being over on Lawrence. It's going to depend, but just as a general rule, when you've got really bad slate or really good slate, these two or these short slates, and they're two games that look really good or really bad, then for the most part, what I tend to do, and I've spoke to you about it, is I'm trying to be over the market on some of the lesser played players, and I might be under the market on some of the higher ones. Or the other option that I'll sometimes do is just lock in a player, and it'll never be the quarterback. I may lock in a running back that just like a Henry, who just might look like too good a play not to have in all my lineups. I may lock that one player in and then randomize the others.
Even if like it's 70%.
Yeah, well, then I even more so, right? Because I look at it almost like I'll do that a lot in the NBA, where you get that it's a little different, but sometimes you get that $3,500 guy who's starting. Of course, he becomes huge value. He's going to be 60%. I just go 100% of the market and try to pick it off there. If you have a guy, like if someone's going to be, and it's always going to happen, you're going to have like a 70+% own someone in a 2 or 3 game slate. Happens most likely. Even if they don't perform up to what you need typically to be in a winning lineup, they're probably going to be in the winning lineup anyway, just because of the amount of people who have them. So once a player looks like he's going to be 70-80%, I'm probably just going to go all in on him and then try and diversify elsewhere, because that's where you're going to win it. With diversity you're going to find that 10% owned guy, which is very low in a 2-game slate, who may be the slate breaker.
Are you on that 10% owned guy? So you said you like to go a little bit over. So there's some, I'm just looking at the slate, like, and I'll throw some names out there of these lower owned likely guys, like especially the Titans wide receivers, like Bobby Trees or Westbrook Akine. These will be low owned situations. Are you looking at those guys who are going to have 10% ownership projection going, I'm going to go 25% on these guys? Probably a lot of them will fail, but when one hits, I'm way over the field on this guy that everybody's under on, and I'll allow the lineups that went 25% on the 0 from Westbrook Akine. Who cares? Because I got 25% Robert Woods, and he went off and blah, 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 and that helped me. Like, how do you treat that situation?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, you're going to want the Dom station. You're going to want it to like kind of run and see what you're doing. So if I'm locking in the one player, it's almost going to inevitably happen if I'm randomized enough, right? If I've got enough diversity in my lineups, I'm using enough uniques, that I'm almost guaranteed to be on most of those players over the market. I'm going to be under the market now on some of the top players if I locked in that one player who looks like the chalkiest of chalk. It's almost going to happen naturally. Now, from that point, I can make adjustments and change. But for the most part, I'm going to probably be, if a player is going to be 5 to 10%, I'm probably going to be in that 15 to 20% range on it. Nothing crazy unless it warrants it. But I'm speaking in generalities here. That's the way I'm generally going to attack these slates. Now, if I was doing it on a single entry, 3 entry, 3 max, 20 max sort of thing, that's where now I have to definitely have that chalky player. Matter of fact, I want a lot of chalky players in the lineup mixed in with 2 or 3 of the long shots. You don't have to go too crazy and contrarian. If Derrick Henry is going to be the chalkiest play on the board, then he needs to be in your lineup, whether it's, you're almost treating it like cash. Almost what you're doing here is taking a cash lineup and just tweaking it slightly to become very differentiating in a single game.
You got to find
1 or 2 plays.
Yeah, that hybrid. You got to find something that makes you a little different. If you're going in there just doing what everybody's doing, the cash lineup, it's not going to work. It's not winning anything in a slate like this. All right, that's really good info. How many? Well, you know what? Let's move on. Yeah,
we'll get into another time. But
yeah, we'll talk about another.
Hit me up in the Discord if you have questions.
There we go. All right, so let's talk about the Sunday slate. This is a crazy one, John. Crazy. Fucking crazy. And some weird-ass games. And one of the first of the weirdo games is Houston at the Colts. Oh, my goodness. What? 38-point total. Colts at home, 2.5-point favorites. I don't even know what to do with this game from DFS angles perspective. I think Zach Moss is actually an interesting play this week, which is crazy. But you know what? Bad teams. I think Houston. I assume that the Colts will roll out Sam Ehlinger at the QB position after Nick Foles. He ends up hurt, but he was hurting the team. He was so bad.
Yeah,
Houston, Mills. I don't know what they're up to.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, this is a terrible. It's a terrible game from a DFS standpoint. Outside of, like you said, maybe a Moss here, because you can run on this Houston defense. That's the one thing. They've been pretty bad in all aspects, but that's the one good thing that I'm looking at when I'm looking at the rankings. And you have the ranking sheet up.
Yes.
as well. So Houston pretty bad against the run. When you look at it from the betting standpoint, again, 3 points. You can get 2.5 if you like the Colts over at BetMGM. 38.5 is the total. Money's been coming in more so on the Colts side. It's a 60-40 split in that, and then it's about a 70-30 split to the under, which makes sense. Just kind of see where the lines moved on the under. We have no info on. There's no sharp money on this game. Yeah, it opened at 39 down to 38.5. No sharp money on this game. We haven't seen the squares come in. This is going to be definitely the square. This is a game the public won't bet. The public likes to bet the games, especially in the final weekend, that actually have meaning. And the public is going to pass on this game. You may see sharp money come in on this one, but I'm not 100% sure. As of right now, I'm passing on this game myself. And then I'm going to get into mistakes that people make in the final week of the season when we get to a game that warrants it. But yeah, for this one, not a whole lot of DFS interest in it, and not a ton of betting interest at all.
No, it is a gross one. And again, I have nothing for DFS purposes. Really, I guess there's like some low-owned YOLO potential here. But yeah, Zach Moss seems interesting. Got a lot of the touches last week. If you look at Deion Jackson, he got nothing. So they moved on to Moss for the most part. Fine by me. Playable, but nothing I'm going to get super excited about. I feel like the normal better. I'm like, I don't want to mess with this. Like, I'm like the squares. I don't like this game. All right. So next up, Baltimore at Cincinnati. Bengals playing to win. You know, there's reason to win here. They have, I think when that Bills Cincinnati game is officially canceled, we'll actually have some scenarios a little bit better. But from what I can tell, the Bengals will play to win this one. Baltimore, Lamar Jackson have no reason to play this game out. But Lamar maybe comes back, maybe not. I'm really, this one's got me baffled. 41.5 point total, John. Just, make some sense of it for me.
Wish I could. Yeah, let me just give you the betting. So like I said, 7-42. The AI model, of course, doesn't 100% know either. But right now, with as it stands, it likes this at Cincinnati -5. So it's giving you some value on the Baltimore side.
Let me give you this real quick, John, to square it for you. Playoff berth has been granted to Baltimore regardless of the remaining scenarios. They are locked into the 6th seed, even if they lose. They can still have a crazy outside chance of winning the AFC North if Buffalo beats if the Week 19 game happen. There's a weird scenario. I think once the final game is canceled, and that's why I was a little confused on this one. Once the Bills-Bengals game is officially canceled, which I believe will happen today, then the Ravens have nothing to play for, no motivation. They're certainly not going to roll out Lamar Jackson here, not take any more chances with injuries. So I think the Ravens play the backups here.
Well, the question is, if they cancel the game, do they make it a tie, like the game just never happened? Or do they do a coin flip to see?
No, a tie, no contest.
So they just make it a no contest.
Yes.
Which, I mean, I guess that would make sense.
That's what, there's no way there's coin flipping for a winner. That would be absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
I guess it's not no way, but it would be bonkers.
It would be.
Yeah.
I think it's probably best to just play it as if the game did not play, which it did not.
COVID rules. Listen, they had this rule in place for COVID. You cancel a game, it's canceled, and it's a tie, and
that's a good point. Yeah, the rule was in place. So yeah, that's probably the way it's going to work. Baltimore won't win the division in that case. Won't have anything to play for. So
with that being said, John, -7.
Do you play Lamar? Do you play Lamar just to get him some looks before the playoffs? You play him for a quarter just to give him a little. He hasn't been in a while. I don't know if I don't do that. I may just get him in there just to see some live action, maybe for a quarter, like play it like the last preseason game.
But even if that does happen, I think -7 is not enough for a motivated Bengals team against a Baltimore team that doesn't care. And the Bengals are at home. To me, -7 is a number to hit.
I agree. I liked Cincinnati on Monday night. Again, a shame the whole thing that happened and that we didn't get to see just exactly how Cincinnati was going to play against presumably the best defense or the best team in the NFL. But they've been on a pretty good roll. When you take away last week, they've been playing pretty well. They were playing well to start that game. They looked pretty good in that first quarter. So Yeah, I would agree with you there. I don't know if 7's enough, but this is without enough information on this one. Again, the public is staying away. I haven't seen any sharp money on this game yet either. So this is kind of a stay away for me. Not a game in DFS that I mean, it could potentially be a great game on the Cincinnati offensive side.
You got to have, but I'm just going to tell you right now,
Yeah.
as you probably haven't studied the totality of this slate for Sunday because it stays away, you're going to have a piece of this game. There's no, you have to. You're kind of
looking at my numbers, right? So looking at my numbers, it's the number one. It would have been the number one stacking game for me.
The Bengals side.
Stacks. Just looking at the numbers, yes.
Yeah, take a look at your sheet here, which shows Baltimore defense, and it does show that Baltimore is a team that's vulnerable to wide receivers and funnel to the pass. So Baltimore will stop the run when they're playing at full strength and funnel to the pass, according to your own points for chart that we have right here. So you've got to play the Bengals offense. Burrow is one of like 4 viable quarterbacks with something to play for on this entire slate. And Chase and Higgins, and I don't think it's a great spot for Joe Mixon, but if they're resting starters, John, we throw away the DVP numbers and now you give it to the running back.
Yeah. It definitely changes things. You've got to be this would actually be a good time to bring it up. You do have to be careful. Games in which one team is playing for something in the final week, the other team is not, they become so overvalued. That team that's playing for something becomes so overvalued. Nobody ever bets the other team, and the value is always on that other team. Now, it's slightly different when both teams are playoff teams, because the playoff team really doesn't have their heart in the game. They're already gearing towards the playoffs. But when you find the scenario where one team is out of it, this is the biggest game for them of the year. And we'll see some of those coming up. So be careful. Don't just bet teams because you say, oh, well, they've got something to play for. Well, guess what? The entire market knows that they have something to play for on the other team. Like, you don't know something that we don't.
I'm going to pile on to what you just said and add, there's a difference between a team like Baltimore that's in the playoffs but has nothing to play for versus the Rams. They didn't make the playoff, but they have nothing to rest for. They're going to play to win, because why not? Why wouldn't I do that? Like, what am I, resting people? Let's go. So Baltimore, again, weird situation. I think you grab this. I think you grab the bet on the Bengals now before they actually cancel the other game. People haven't figured this shit out, John. We're figuring it out. People have not. They haven't gotten this. They don't understand. So the minute it's understood that Baltimore has nothing to play for at all of a sudden that number might move to, we might get a -9. We might get a big number. So, and as far as, like I said, normally I would not play Joe Mixon in this spot, but I think that the potential for Baltimore to rest their guys means that even a Joe Mixon in a bad matchup against Baltimore run defense is a viable play. All right, let's move on to the Jets at Miami. Bienvenido a Miami. Party in the city in the heat is on. The mat to the break of dawn. Miami rolling out the Skylar Thompson. Maybe it's Teddy Bridgewater, always hurt. Maybe it's Skylar Thompson. Jets on the other. I mean, Jets are -1 favorite here, 38-point total. Jets can't run the football. No running backs. Really not doing well. That's really hurt them. Mike White, ribs, injured. Look like, to me, I would normally be very excited to play the Jets offense, John. I would normally be very excited in this spot, except I am concerned that Mike White is ineffective because he's got broken ribs. Now, I don't know this for sure. There's no way of really discerning if this is the case. But if you give me healthy Mike White in this spot against the Miami team that is, they got no quarterback, they're in some trouble there, I'd probably be interested. They play man defense, which opens up a lot of, potential passing plays. I would like the Jets offense here. I like Corey Davis a little bit, but I'm really concerned about Mike White's ribs, and maybe he was ineffective because of that. The flip side on Miami, maybe if Bridgewater plays, they could be fine. But if it's Skylar Thompson, Miami doesn't have a whole lot to offer on offense at all with Skylar at the helm.
Yeah, I agree with that. Look, I sent you the last 5. Do you have that one? The
Oh,
chart?
yeah. Oh, you're going to throw a curveball at me. Hold on.
No, not really a curveball. Just look at how
Well, just
bad.
the
Oh, I
technical
threw a
curveball.
curveball as far as not
Yeah,
preparedness.
of not being prepared with that.
So
But here
that's
we go.
the
No, that's not the right one.
that's the
Hold on.
season long. So
Okay,
that's
hold
season
on.
long.
You threw me a curveball.
I'm
Hold
sorry.
on. Let's
You
see.
know, one
Last
of
5
the
weeks.
subscribers. So one
I
of the
know
subscribers
one of the
asked me to
guys
do
asked for it.
this,
I don't
and
find
it's
this
good.
chart, by the way. I just want to say I don't find this chart as useful as the full
Well,
season one. I like the full
it's
season
not
one
as
more.
useful, but you do get an idea of maybe how things are trending
Yeah.
for a team, and you could just see
Look at
how bad
Dallas.
Miami's been.
Yeah. Well,
That's the
I'm
thing
just
with
looking at
Dallas, right?
Dallas.
So we know the defense is really good, and look how bad they've been over the last 5 weeks. Miami
So
has been
to
atrocious
explain
over the
what
last
these
5
numbers
weeks.
mean. Hang on, let me blow this up. I'm going to explain what these numbers mean. So because not everybody fully grasps what we're looking at here. John, you can explain it actually. Points against. So these are effectively how many points above or below mean expectation the opposing player of that position group will score versus an average score for that
All right.
player.
So this is for for position, right? So if a team averages X at the quarterback, let's say they average 20 points a game at the quarterback position, you're then looking at what was the plus minus. Now they score 23 against you, they get a +3. They score 17 against you, it's a -3, or vice versa. I forget
or vice
exactly how that,
versa. So
or vice versa.
effectively,
So you're looking at how the team, if the team consistently holds opponents underneath their average, they're going to have a higher positive number, which is in green on this chart to the left. And then it's just the opposite on the chart to the right, which is the offensively. Are they scoring more than the opponents that they're playing give up? So when you look at Miami here, what it's saying is they're actually giving up almost 6 points more at the quarterback position over the last 5 weeks than the teams that they played averaged. So they are much worse than the average of the team that they played. Now, I always tell you, I really like to look for situations when you've got green on green. Hard to find. So you don't really have that necessarily here because you look at the Jets.
green.
The
Jets got
Jets
no
have
green.
just right. The Jets offensively have just been terrible. Now, if you have them playing a high-powered offense, it's a no-brainer. What happens and what we fall into the trap of sometimes is we gear we in DFS, we are always trying to target defenses, right? Which gives you a different offense every week, so to speak, to be targeting. We always target against defense, which is great, and we do want to do that. We do want to pick on bad defenses, but it's not like the bad defense is always going to be the one that falls when they play against a bad when it's bad defense against bad offense. We sometimes lose track of the fact that, well, the bad defense might win this matchup, not the bad offense, right? So we like it when it's green on green. Doesn't always happen. It's rare it does. So you got to be cautious there in that scenario.
There we go. So yeah, I mean, it's again, Miami. What this is showing is they're absolutely awful, allowing almost 6 points per game above average to opposing quarterbacks, 5 to running backs, 5 to wide receivers, even 3.5 points. They're just getting torched, right? But the problem is the Jets, when we look at them, are just not very good offensively. So they're going to have a hard time effectively taking advantage of it. With all that being said, I do have a couple likes in that game. I like, you know who I like? Corey Davis on the Jets. I'm going to tell you why. Corey Davis emerged as the WR2. Miami does have a very good CB1 in Xavier Howard. As much as their defense in general is pretty bad, they have a decent top cornerback. And a lot of people think Elijah Moore is the WR2 for the Jets, but last week's game and the target share, the snap count definitely favored Corey Davis as the number 2 wide receiver. Got 10 targets. Give me that for $3,500 in this game. That is a bargain. That's a salary saver that opens up some stuff. So I like Corey Davis in that one. Not too much else, though. I think it's a sketchy game, and I don't think you mess with Miami at all. Any players from Miami. And the Jets, the rest of the Jets offense. I mean, of course, Mike White probably going to be in my mix again because I'm not getting off the train in the last week of the season. You got to ride it out. You got to ride to the last stop. Sometimes you just got to do it. As much as I expect nothing, I'm going to do it, but I don't have high expectations. Betting wise, John, is this playable? Can you bet this?
Yeah, I mean, well, the market certainly is. So people are almost the money at least is almost unanimously on the Jet side of this game, and you've got to be careful again in these situations where
Sharp money's been on the Jets for like the last 3 weeks in a row.
Money has been coming in on the Jets, and now we're looking at, like you said, you've got third string quarterback potentially coming in to play. So that's why the money's been pouring in on the Jet side of this game.
People forget.
Just be careful in these situations. I've made money historically fading situations like this because the average bettor thinks like they're the only ones who realize that it's a backup quarterback playing. Now, if you are actually putting in the work and then figuring out that, the market thinks this is a 3-point differential, it really should be a 5 or something to that effect. That's one thing. But what most people say is they just look at the game and they go, backup quarterback, automatically go to the other side. You could see it week in, week out in these situations. And then you get a Stidham situation and everyone's like, oh, didn't see that coming. And it was an easy winner if you had it. Right. So just be careful in those situations when there's information that is obvious and readily available to the public. Start thinking about fading that information because people overreact to it.
I'm all about it. All right, let's move on to Panthers at the Saints. Neither team with any sort of playoff scenarios to worry about, which tells me that both teams will just play their guys. Have as usual, last game of the season, no reason to rest, no reason to chill. Both teams, divisional rivals, all that good stuff. Darnold, DJ Moore. Darnold's been fine. Darnold every once in a while pops off in a spot like this. DJ Moore, been pretty good. Panthers have some running backs that between Foreman and Chuba, hard to sort of figure it out. Saints, man, it's been forever since Kamara, I feel like, has had a good game. It's a really rough season for Kamara. They don't throw to him as much as they should be, all things considered. The rest of the Saints offense is really muddled with Olave not really paying off his salary and Rashid Shaheed doing some interesting things the last couple of weeks. And of course, Juwan Johnson at tight end having a couple good games. So I wanted to pull up the points against sheet, and I'm back to the wrong one. The last 5 weeks one. Well, we'll take a look at this one. So here, defensively, Saints, nothing special. Pretty good against wide receivers last few weeks. Let's see the Panthers.
And you got to be careful offensively with the Saints because these are from DraftKings, and Taysom Hill counts as quarterback, and that gets included into the numbers.
Yeah, well, we're not messing with with Andy Dalton anyway.
No.
But Carolina been pretty bad against the pass recently, so you could throw on Carolina as the last few weeks, allowing 5 points above mean to opposing wide receivers, which may bode well, I guess, for Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave types. But any betting interest in this one, John?
Well, we're not getting any. There's no sharp money on this game at all as of yet. Like I said, the line is 3.5 or 3. You can get 3 on the Saints. 42.5 is the total. The AI model likes it at 1.5. So it sees some value here on the Carolina side of this game. Money's coming in all on Carolina, which is interesting. 84% of the money, as a matter of fact.
I think. Do you think you got to nail that half point before it's gone? Like
I would like it. Yeah, if I could get that 3.5, I would certainly like it a lot more. Yeah, it's tough, from a psychological standpoint. Both teams really got knocked out last week, so they're in a similar situation here. Because a lot of times you might say, well, team gets knocked out, it's a little deflating. They come out flat the following week. Both teams
these guys didn't really have much of a shot. I mean,
Carolina had all the shot in the world. They had the game. They had a good chance to win that game last week. All they had to do was win that game and win the division last week.
Yeah, they blew it. So
they did blow it.
I think Carolina's the betting side here. Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to lay off the 3.5 points. So I think if I had to lean that one way on this game, it would be that way. I would take Carolina.
Yeah. And I don't mind any of the pieces from this game from a DFS perspective. I actually think Sam Darnold is playable in DFS this week, as crazy as that might be. Why not? He's auditioning. He's kind of, every time Sam Darnold plays, he's kind of like auditioning for next year, for another team, for his career. So he's going to be out there giving it his all. DJ Moore and him have been good together the last few weeks. I have no problem with going there. I don't think there'll be any rest or any thought of anything other than play this guy and see what happens. We'll get to some other games where there's some interesting scenes, but next up we've got the Bucs at Atlanta. Atlanta 4-point road favorites. And John, is this line telling us that regardless of what they're saying, Brady is not playing in this one?
That's pretty much what it's telling you. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see.
Believe the money.
Brady.
Believe the money.
You always look at the line. I always try to look at the line to figure out who's in, who's out when there's an injury situation or anything like that. The line's going to tell you pretty much what the market feels on that game. So I think that would be Atlanta being favored in this game by 4 is certainly a no Brady line to me.
Now, what do you do in terms of bets? Is that overblown? The effect of the possibility of no Brady, is that overblown 4 points? Or we don't even know who the backup quarterback is. I have no idea who the Bucs backup quarterback is, like Blaine Gabbert or something like that, someone like that.
Yeah, I would actually lean on the Tampa side, and then because I like Tampa, I would actually wait on this game. So, and I would like to see no Brady, maybe sit a couple other guys, see if I can get an even better line, and then jump on the Tampa side. That's how I'm going to look at this game. For the reason I said, now I know they're in the playoffs. It's a different situation when a team is in the playoffs against a team that is maybe out of the playoffs. But I'm going to be looking for an overreaction here to the market. It's not like Brady's been that great. Okay, he was great last week, 400 points, 400 yards, I should say, and had a monster week, best week he's had all year.
You know why?
Atlanta
right?
defense.
You know what happened last week?
What happened last week?
He finally took a dip in the fountain of youth, refreshed. The cellular regeneration.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. He's dating a new Insta model, Smoke Show.
Is that the one that that was rumored was like she's like foreign too, isn't she? She's like
I listen. I didn't get too deep into the details. I saw the picture. I got it. I understand.
Yeah.
Little dip in the fountain of youth. Cells regenerating. Ponce de Leon searched Florida for 30 years, and she was hiding on Instagram.
Listen, I've tried it, but it still hasn't made my neck feel any better. I've got a bad knee. It doesn't seem to work for me.
John. The girls at the strip club in Tampa, that is not the same.
No, it doesn't.
Those are false fountain of youth girl. They're a fountain of old age.
That is a valid point.
You take a dip and you're older when you emerge. The back hurts worse. These are false prophets. Unlike Tom Brady goes with the purity. The
valid
real
point.
True, like Giselle.
I was never a huge Giselle fan.
He's 48 years old. He's still playing football. You're saying it's just random?
No, yeah, no. There might be something to this. I don't know. I never got the whole Giselle thing myself, but
the Tampa stripper girls are not the same.
No. Yeah, it's definitely not going to help.
No.
There's no positives in that.
No. But anywho, Tyler Algier is of interest in this one for me. Rookie, young guy. They probably lean heavy on him on Atlanta. I'm not going the Des Ridder thing. I can't play a DFS play out of that. I was thinking about Rachaad White, but I actually don't think. I think if they rest, I think he's part of the rest group. I don't think he's like, oh, we're going to lean on Rachaad White all game. I don't know that they do that, John. I don't know that we could trust him. So for me, this game is a DFS disaster. We stay away. Next up, the Patriots at the Bills. Bills 7-point home favorites in this one. They will play this game to win. They're going all out to ball out in Buffalo. They're playing for DeMar. They're inspired. I think they put an absolute beatdown on the Patriots here. Just get all their frustrations out on the Patriots in this. The Patriots have nothing to play for.
No.
They have nothing. So they're not even going there thinking they need a win. Buffalo absolutely needs this win. They're going all out to ball out. 7 points is a lot to lay, but from a DFS angle, I will tell you this. Josh Allen is the safest bet on this entire slate. None of these quarterbacks feel very safe to me. There's not a lot of good matchups. If you want to just kind of lock in your 25 fantasy points, figure it out elsewhere, I think you just put Josh Allen at the helm and say, you know what? I'm not messing with Geno Smith or any, Sam Darnold. Let's just go Josh Allen, lock in the points, move on. Safe play.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that safe, but
I mean, flip side is it's scary. 42-point total. Like what?
New England
What is
defense
happening?
pretty good. Haven't been as good as they were early in the year, but still pretty solid. But yeah, when you look at the slate as a whole,
There's no quarterbacks.
yeah, there's just not a lot of quarterbacks there. So
Fields.
I get what you're saying, but
Herbert, you're not playing Herbert. Like we haven't gotten to those games, but I'm telling you, it's hard to pick quarterbacks here. I'm having a hard
it's going to be a tough quarterback week, no doubt. But I kind of.
Do you embrace that? What do you do? Tough quarterback week. And I know there's a time limit. We got to hammer through these games.
Yeah.
But what do you do? Tough quarterback. You just spread it out?
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what you're going to have to do.
And just go all in?
Yeah.
Last week.
100%. No, I can't go all in. Not. I mean, one, that's not how I play on a big slate, and especially at the quarterback position. When I run the numbers, obviously the defense is the hardest thing to predict, followed by tight ends, and then the quarterback. So the quarterbacks are tough. It's easier to predict running backs and wide receivers than it is quarterbacks. So I never really want to go too crazy on any one quarterback. So
last week for me was the first week of the season where I just swung and missed at quarterback. Just like I swung and missed. I came out of it like, wow, I really swung and missed. And it's just hasn't been the case this year. It was that 1 week and didn't feel good.
No, never does. Yeah, no, I have my share of
swinging and miss.
Mike White's, and things like that. Yeah, so it happens.
So back to this game here. Yeah, I mean, the 42-point total is not sexy at all. Buffalo does not have a massive team total here, but to be honest with you, John, that's one of the highest totals on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, because it looks like a preseason week, basically.
Every game is 40, 38, 40. Yeah. It's bizarre. There's not a single game that stands out here. So you got to kind of just play these teams that have, decent team totals, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, you figure Buffalo should be playing for something. We just don't know, right? So
they will be. Actually,
they need to. Do they need to win regardless?
Yes, they will be.
Kansas City can still get the one.
Kansas City will get the bye regardless.
Well, Kansas City's locked into the.
They need to win. They need to win. So that's why all the games need to be played out. Kansas City needs to win their game. They should get the bye. Buffalo needs to win their game in case Kansas City loses, and then maybe I'm wrong, and maybe that draw thing he pushes it the other way. We'll know in a few hours whenever the NFL releases the actual data. But again, coming back to this game, listen, you're not messing with the Patriots. I don't think they're playing the starters. I'm telling you, they have nothing to play for. They're in the playoffs. They have nothing to play for. So you're not messing with them. I think it's Buffalo or bust. And Allen to Diggs in a 42-point total game is a little bit of a high price to pay. But what else are you going to do?
I mean, they're going to obviously it's going to be a very emotional game as well. But that can play itself in two different ways, right? I like emotion on defense, sometimes too emotion on offense. Kind of goes against you. That defensive unit, though, against a weak Patriot offense, I think is going to be pretty fired up. It is one of the best defenses in the league. So I would expect New England to do absolutely nothing in this game. It's just going to be a question of how well can Buffalo do. I do agree with you. I would lean the Buffalo side in this game. It's not typically the way I would go, but I think the motivation is obviously there.
Yeah, too dangerous.
They're going to want to really put a good game together for their teammate. And of course, the importance of that game is going to depend on Saturday's game. So assuming Kansas City wins, it changes things. But Kansas City lost, and then they can get the 1 seed, right?
Yeah, that's right. They'll know if Kansas City won. So you know what? I didn't even consider this, but even if they do miss the 1 seed, they could lose out. No, could they lose out on the number 2 seed? They might be able to lose out on the number 2 seed as well. So I need to look at some of those scenarios actually, because it's still really up in the air. But I do believe Buffalo will need to win this game. I still think it's going to matter. You don't want to go from a 2 to a 5. Like there are some real.
It's hard to figure out just because of that, because they're not playing that game. Because essentially it would have been the Bills needed to win both games and they would have clinched, and the Bengals needed to win both games with Kansas City losing. So I'm not 100% sure how it's going to work.
Yeah, they might not
the
need to
time.
play it either. Actually, we'll have to pay close attention to that and how things sort of come up in the next few hours. But speaking of teams that have nothing to play for, the Vikings really essentially have nothing to play for as well, and I fully expect them to rest their starters. Chicago, no Fields. They're rolling out Nate Peterman.
It's brutal.
Oh, boy. What a weird game. So the Vikings, I don't know. Are they going to rest their guys? I would think they might, but they're going up against an even worse. So the backups for the Vikings against the backups for the Bears, the Viking backup crew getting a -7.5, which I think is right. I think they should be favored. I don't even know who the quarterback is that backs up Cousins, but he has to be better than Peterman.
I think I've seen enough of Peterman to know what we're getting. Now, this would be a spot I would be firing the Bears. I'd be firing in on the Bears here.
Nick Mullins is the backup. Nick Mullins.
Yeah. Oh, Mullins was from San Francisco.
Yeah, he's actually not a bad.
He's not terrible.
A pretty good backup quarterback.
I would probably play him, but this is. I talked about Minnesota. I forget what week it was. I'm not sure if they've covered since I mentioned it.
Paper Tiger. They did cover.
How overrated they were, and the move would be to start fading this team for the rest of the season, and that has proven to be profitable if you faded them over the last few weeks. This is not that great a team. So even in this spot, I'm leaning towards the Bears here. Now the public is on Minnesota. I think that's going to be obvious again.
Because
the public's not going to back a Peterman. Yeah, so I don't know if I can actually get up the courage to back Peterman either. But I'm certainly not taking Minnesota in this game. And the sports book also needs Chicago in this game. The money's just going to be pouring in against Peterman. I think everyone has that image of that first game that he played with. I think he threw like 4 interceptions with Buffalo and like his first 5 passes or something like that.
It was horrible.
It's terrible, and he hasn't done much to change that initial. I can't believe he's still in the league, to be honest. But
that is the most shocking thing. Isn't that the most shocking thing of all? Like, how is this guy still here?
Not a bad gig to be a backup quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, how is he still there? I think I could do it. I think I could do it.
Well, I mean, as long as they don't ask you to play, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely never play. Definitely never play.
I think you'd be fine holding.
I think I can play just as good as Nate Peterman looked in that one game.
I mean, you could. How much worse can you look? If you don't throw the ball, you'd look better. Just take 4 sacks. And you'd probably be good at like just signaling in the plays and stuff.
I'd be scared of getting hit, so I'd just be running away. I'm scrambler. Big men running at me, trying to hurt me. Don't like it. All right. Yeah, I don't like that game for DFS purposes at all. Let's stay the hell away from it. Although I did have a thought of like Alexander Madison but you never know. Like I said, even when they play the backups, sometimes they think he's our important piece. Let's throw in, RB number 3. So you can't even really trust the backup unless they tell you we're rolling with Madison the whole game, which they won't tell us. All right. Next, we've got the Browns at the Steelers. The Steelers in? Now I can't remember. The Browns have nothing to play for. And I believe, let me check my Steelers information here. NFC Steelers. Yeah. Third piece of that puzzle who can earn the final seed if they beat the Browns and both Miami and New England lose. So there is a scenario for the Steelers. They will need to play. I'm looking at the games that they're focused on. Miami and New England will be happening simultaneous. So the Steelers are in it to win it. The Browns have nothing to play for in this one. And of course, we've got the Steelers 2.5-point home favorites. Najee Harris looked pretty decent the last game, I guess. They come out with the win and the whole deal. Browns looked okay last week as well. I think Deshaun Watson gets slightly better every single week. They're definitely playing this game out. They're playing it to win. How do you see this one going down?
This is the setup I love. I love Cleveland in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love Cleveland here. Like you said, I think Watson is starting to improve. We've been seeing good signs here from this team on the whole. I think they come in. I mean, there's nothing Cleveland wants to do more than to just end Pittsburgh's season here. Now, Pittsburgh, great job getting to this point. I mean, if they made the playoffs here, I think it'd be remarkable. Starting the season with Trubisky, you got the rookie quarterback taking over. They've progressively gotten better as well. So you got to give them credit. And I think Tomlin's, one of the top 3-4 coaches in football, and I think he's proven it
Let's
year.
hammer through these games, John. You have a time constraint here.
But I do like, I do have to run myself. So I do like Cleveland. The sharp money has come in on Cleveland as well on this game, and the public is betting Pittsburgh. So I think it all lines up here. I like when I'm in agreement with the sharp money.
I love it.
And going against the public.
Should I buy the half?
No, I wouldn't. I just think this is a situation. You could actually get it at -105 at PointsBet right now. The plus 2.5. I mean, if you feel more comfortable taking it through, I never buy the points.
I like
take
that.
it. I know you like to take it up to that number,
yeah.
And pay the juice. I don't typically do that. I'm just going to take this one. I'll take the 2.5. Even if you want to play half on the spread, half on the money line, I'll take that at plus 125 as well.
Some quick DFS angles here. I do think all of the players involved in this game are relevant. On the Steelers side, Najee Harris, fine by me. They're going to play to win. They need the win to get in. So they're going to go all out. Najee, DJ, the passing, it's hard to trust the pass catchers for the Steelers. Really, it's just hard to trust them. Cleveland's a team you want to attack via the run. On the Cleveland side, I think you want to attack via the pass, and that opens up Amari Cooper. That opens up even Njoku. We haven't seen too much out of those guys. I don't know that I could go there with Deshaun Watson yet. He has not shown a lot of DFS or fantasy upside this season. It'd be hard for me to pull that trigger, but I don't mind like an Amari Cooper or something like that. All right, moving on, and we're going to lightning round these for you, John. You got places to be. So lightning round. Chargers at the Broncos. Broncos 2-point home favorites. Chargers nothing to play for, which is why the Broncos are favored. They played a little bit better last week. The Chargers got nothing to play for here, really. I mean, there is a scenario where something might be slightly motivating, but for the most part, they're in the not really highly motivated factor. They are a 5 seed. Could it be a better matchup if they win? Whatever. I don't think they play it out.
Yeah, I like Denver in this game. I think Denver now finally starting to play a little bit closer to what we thought they'd be.
I'm not ready to anoint them after.
I'm not anointing anything yet, but I think the move off of Hackett has inspired this team a little bit, and so I think they come out play well in this game. I'm not 100% sure of how motivated the Chargers are going to be. So I like Denver at home. I think they finish out just what has been a disappointing season, to say the least. And I think they finish it out on a good note here, win this game. The Chargers, I don't know, the Chargers I always have issues with, and in losing. Not that they're supposed to win this game, but losing
super risky to touch any Chargers for DFS purposes.
Yeah,
I am not screwing with that.
Yeah,
very risky. Denver, I think you go back to, you could play their guys. You could play Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton, even Russell Wilson. If you are so inclined, they're going to play it out. They're going to try to win.
The book needs Denver, by the way, so you'd be on the same side as the book.
I like that as well. That is, once again, you want to be on the side with the sports book. That is available on the Sharp Report, on the Sharp app. No one else has that information. There is no other place. You know why I know no one else gets it? Because we get it directly from a source at the sports book. This is not fed by a data stream. They let us know where some liabilities are. That is unlike anybody else. Got a friend at the sports book situation. You ain't getting that anywhere else. So download the Sharp app, check out the Sharp Report. You know where the sports books, the liabilities are. All right, next game, John. Cardinals at San Francisco, and this 14-point. San Francisco's got like one of the probably the highest team total on this entire slate. I like it. 14-point favored San Francisco, 40.5 point total. Arizona rolling out Lord knows who at the quarterback position. I can't even remember the name, Marty McSorley, or I can't even remember. That's how bad it is at quarterback for the Cardinals right now. And San Francisco looking pretty good with Brock Purdy in there. Not a great matchup in terms of defense. Arizona's defense is good, but they're beatable via the run. So I kind of like this one. Arizona, yeah, I mean they're you take them on, you want to run against them, John. And San Francisco likes to run the football. It's a good matchup for the running game for San Francisco. I think if Christian McCaffrey's out there, that's our guy. And if it's someone else, that's our guy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But from a betting standpoint, I actually think that's why this game stays a little closer than the 14. So I think it becomes a low-scoring game run the clock. We can pound it down their throat and then win this game, 20-10, something like that, and head on into the playoffs. And they've got a bunch of different scenarios where they can move to different seeds that we won't get over. We won't go over, but they're going to have to play this game, San Francisco, because I believe everyone else that they're is at the same time. Anything that matters to them.
Yeah,
so they're going to be playing a win.
Yeah, they did. The NFL did.
Yeah, they do that intentionally now.
Yeah,
which is smart.
Let me give you the scenarios for them. Sorry, I'll read it out here.
Yeah.
They are absolutely highly motivated. Thanks to overtime win last week against the Raiders, San Francisco leapfrogs the Vikings, and they're playing for the number 1 seed in the NFC and all of the goodies that come along with it. So they need to beat the Cardinals for the number 1 seed. This is for the bye. They're going all out to ball out.
They need it's going to be unlikely because they're going to need the Eagles to lose to the Giants, but it's certainly possible. So they will play that game to win. Now, maybe, Eagles up 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns at halftime. Maybe they look at that when they go into halftime and say, okay, we'll call the dogs off. So that's why I'm going to take a shot here. I'm going to take the 14 points with Arizona. I do think they keep this game close. And like you said, from DFS standpoint, I think you could probably target. Let's look and see who's going to be the running back in that game. That's the tricky part, because if they're going to start with C-Mac, how much they want to use him going into the playoffs. But by the way,
at some point, who cares? Like if they're up 21 or 28-0 and they're
he probably did a lot, but I agree with that to a degree. But does he get all the yard? I like that sometimes with the quarterback, but I don't know. We're going to need that yardage and the touchdown possibilities with the running back. So I don't know just how heavy I want to go on that one. I'm gonna have to look at it some more. I mean, he's probably the best option on the board, but you're paying up for it as well. So again, I think the theme of the week is you want to be diverse this week and be very careful with any chalky plays, especially in situations like this.
Dallas at Washington. Washington rolling out Sam Howell at the helm, rookie. Dallas, not really a whole lot in terms of motivation, but they are 7.5 point favorites. Let me pull up actually they do. So Dallas can win the NFC East by beating Washington, but they also need the Eagles to lose, which ain't happening. And they have to know it. So effectively, they need to win and the Giants to lose.
They could actually get the
win against the Eagles.
No one even more crazy. If the 49ers were to lose in that situation, they would actually be the 1 seed, which is remarkable that they have a mathematical chance.
There are some crazy mathematical scenarios, but let's be real, right? So there are some scenarios. On the flip side, though, Washington's rolling out Sam Howell. Say, hey, let's see what we got with the young guy. So you can't really. I don't know. Do we play Sam Howell? Is Sam Howell DFS viable here? He's playing the whole game. Howell to Dotson. I say yes.
Yeah, I would say yes as well. And I like, again, I like to fade these situations where the one team has something to play for in the playoffs here. So I'll take the plus 7.5. I always feel like I'm getting a little bit more than I should be on those games. So I'll take the 7.5 with Washington. Washington, they had their playoff hopes were removed last week in that loss with who was it? New Orleans last week that they played. And so the 7.5, give me the extra hook at home. We don't know where we're going to get with the quarterback. Dallas defense, we mentioned it. When you look at them on the whole, they've been great. Over the last few weeks, not so much. So I think we could take a shot here, both in DFS targeting against Dallas, and I'll take them on the bet. I'll take Washington plus the 7.5. Now the market is actually on Washington as well, so that's interesting in that situation. But the money is coming in on Washington. When I look at the Sharp report, now sometimes this differs. The top square position is Dallas. Now that makes a lot more sense to me than what I'm seeing on the handles, because typically the public is going to be on those games where the team needs to win against a team that doesn't need to win.
Some line movement and some stuff that happened last week are affecting the handles as well.
That's true.
Yeah. So you got to be a little careful with those handles when crazy scenarios are going down and these lines have moved a lot. But yeah, I like the Washington side too. I'm fine with it. Washington's playing to win with Sam Howell, but it's not because of anything other than their other quarterbacks are horrible. So why not see what the young guy does? I think it's dangerous. I don't think I'm going to bet it, John. I think why should I bet on Sam Howell? In the end of the day, why should I bet on some rookie quarterback? He could be Nathaniel Peterman part 2, and like I'll feel really stupid. Like this is one of those bets where Dallas could just come in and win 28-0. They could just go up against a rookie and he stinks. So it's too risky to bet it. I'm not touching that. But I get why. I get why at 7, if they played a competent offense, it would make sense. But I'm just, I'm taking beyond. I don't want to be on the square side with Dallas, but I'm just saying I'm also not trying to put my money on Sam Howell. I don't know. I don't trust him. All right. But for DFS purposes, who cares, right? Like we don't care in DFS. It's if I don't win, what happened? I didn't win the tournament. Okay, probably not winning it anyway. So I'll take a shot, right? But I'm probably not betting my 50-50 risk on Sam Howell because I have no idea about this kid or if he's any good. All right, Giants at the Eagles. Eagles need to win to secure their bye, and I assume, they get the bye if they win this game. 14-point home.
Yeah, they win, they get the bye.
Yeah, so 14-point home favorites. I think it's going to be Gardner Minshew, but we don't know. Could be Hurts, could be Minshew. Giants, nothing to play for, getting 14. Giants, I think the Giants will rest their starters.
Yeah,
at some point.
You would think at some point. I believe they said that they aren't.
Don't believe it.
But the line is obviously telling you something different here.
They haven't fully said they aren't. They're saying we're looking at it, we're considering. The way that they've qualified it tells me they will rest them.
I think I would agree, and I think the line is telling you that. And what we're seeing now is how the when you look at the handles, the money's coming in on the Giants, and when you look at the Sharp report, the public is coming in on the Giants. So the public's kind of buying into that narrative that, hey, the Giants are going to come out and play. This line at 14 doesn't make any sense. So I'm leaning a little more towards the Philly side of this game.
Lay 14. It's a lot to lay.
I would probably not lay it, but I as far as a bet, but that's the side I would lean towards in this game. I don't like the Giants to begin with. I don't like the Giants. I think people are just overvaluing the Giants here. I think Philly more than likely comes out and just puts the hammer down on them. I don't think the Giants really are, like I said, I don't think they're going to play for anything. I don't think you're going to see the starters in there. If they are, it won't be for very long. So I would lean towards the Philly side, but I'm not going to take a play on this game. But it's just interesting how much money is coming in, and the handles are backing up what we're seeing on the Sharp report on the Giants.
DFS angle. I like Gardner Minshew if he plays in this one. I'm going back
100%.
to it.
Yeah, 100%.
Going back to it. Best team total on the slate. Going back to it. I like Jalen Hurts less if he plays because with the shoulder, I don't think he's going to take a lot of chances with the running. I still think he can do it, though. I don't even mind Jalen Hurts in the pocket, throwing and just scoring. But I also believe that if they're up 28-0 and they're going up against Joe Giants backup quarterback guy whose name I am unfamiliar with. I don't know who their backup quarterback is. But if they're going up against that guy and Joe backup running back for the Giants and like the B team, I think, they're up 28-0. They just say, you know what, screw it. Let's not risk Jalen Hurts. Let's throw Minshew back out there. So they're not taking chances.
You know who the backup is. Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, Ty God. You know what? Tyrod Taylor's pretty good.
Yeah, not terrible.
Now that you said that, he might be just as good as Daniel Jones out there. That's interesting.
We'll see.
Actually, that is interesting. Okay, I should have known the name. And I just want to say one other thing about Daniel Jones before we move on to this last game is that, some sharp people in some of my dynasty leagues have started sending me offers for Daniel Jones. So the dynasty community is certainly believing that Daniel Jones is going to be an NFL starting quarterback, at least for the next few years, or else I wouldn't be getting those offers. I
thought the head coach was probably the most important signing in the offseason of any team. If I was a Bears fan, that's the guy I would have wanted with Fields. I think he's done a phenomenal job. This is not a good team. I think you have to lay a lot on the coach, and I think he is improving the quarterback. This quarterback's going to be back. I would not sign Barkley, but I would 100% sign Jones, and I think strictly because I think this coach is getting the most out of that type of a quarterback. You saw what he did with Allen. I think he's going, I'm not saying he's going to be Josh Allen, but I think he can win. He's proven they can get to the playoffs.
Considering, John, they had nothing.
Yep.
They had Justin Fieldsian level ineptitude at the wide receiver position. Like the Bears, similar situation, but like they had nothing at wide receiver and they made it work. So, let's see what let's see what they can do next year with the kid back and a wide receiver or two that they will acquire because they have to. So let's see how that goes. Last game of the main slate. Rams at Seattle. Seattle needs to win and some other things to happen to get in. Rams have nothing to lose for, nothing to rest for. They're playing out the game as best they can. Rams are 6.5-point road underdogs here, which, John, I have a feeling you're going to be on the Rams. I'm curious. But the Rams playing to win. They're all in it. And yet, they are 6.5-point road underdogs, where I think this game should have been +3. So I think they're getting extra points because of the perceived lack of motivation. This feels like a John Statsational play, but you tell me what you think here.
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely the Rams is the side I'm leaning, but it's not like I want to bet it with both fists, right? So I'm leaning on that Rams side. This Seattle team,
they call that when you push it in with both. It's a chic bet. It's called.
Yeah, that's it, man. Both fists, baby. But
yeah.
That's not this for me. Now the Seattle, I think showed a lot defensively last week that we obviously nobody was anticipating. We thought certainly if you played that the short afternoon slate, people were, including me.
That's the Jets, though. It wasn't their defense. It was the Jets.
Well, when if you're a Jet fan, which I am not, but I'm surrounded by a ton of Jet fans growing up in New York.
It's the Jets.
It was totally expected. Every Jet fan I know texted me and they're like, "We're not shocked. We're not shocked that they couldn't do anything." But this, and I had the art. We just talked about the Giants, and I've been arguing with Giant fans who obviously I grew up around as well. I just think this is a better team than the Giants. They just don't have the quarterback, the Jets. But let's go on to this game though. The Rams, yes, I would lean that side. When we look at the handles, I'm surprised at how much money's coming in. It's almost all coming in on the Rams, but we're getting a different view when we look at the Sharp report. And I always favor the Sharp report over handles, and the information that we're getting from the Sharp report is that they actually need the Rams. The sport book does. Now that may change, but they need the Rams. So that's interesting. And that makes more sense to me. I have to think that most people are going to be taking Seattle here. So when I saw the handles, it didn't make sense. The Sharp report makes more sense to me. Again, guys, I would believe that this public money is probably on Seattle.
Sharp report. I am talking to a master better. John master bets all over the place.
I master bet 3-4 times
all over the place. A master better, and he's telling us like the Sharp report, and especially the liability sheet for the sports book is the ultimate reference. There's nothing that we can do that will give us a better understanding of which side the sportsbook needs than asking them and them letting us know we need this side, right? So that is information you can't get anywhere. You get it on the Sharp app. That's why it's such a great tool for sports bettors. Of course, you also get to follow along with John's plays, and you can tail him, you can fade him, you can tail me or fade me as well. I'm on there giving out my plays. If you think that the geek knows what he's talking about, tail me too. But it's more information for you to originate your own bets, and using the Sharp report, understanding what side the sportsbook is on is super critical. So make sure you download that. And if you are a DFS Army YouTube channel subscriber and you go to sharp.app, the website, and you sign up with promo code Army, you get a first month free or $30 off the annual plan. Very important to note, though, that the premium features of Sharp app are on the app, much more so than what we have on the website for now. So even when you sign up via the website, you do have to download the app to actually access most of the premium features. You can sign in with your login from the website, but you need the app to see the premium features. Not the Sharp report, though. That's available on the web. All right. So that being said, John, looking at this game, Seattle, not a very good team against the run this season. Okay, they're allowing 6.15 fantasy points above mean expectation to opposing running backs. Second only to Houston, who is just a smidge worse. Not a lot worse. Basically, Houston is they almost caught up with Houston in their badness against the run. And so, John, I love me some Cam Akers in this game. Now, of course, I prefer running backs as home favorites. But I think the Rams want to see, and they've been happy to get an extended look at Cam Akers, giving him a lot of work late in the season. He's looking spry. He's looking like he's recovering more and more from that Achilles injury. And they need to know if they need to get another guy for that role. I think the Rams also are happy to give an extended look to Baker Mayfield, helming their team. They might be stuck with Baker. I don't know what the story is with Stafford and his back injury. Like, you're going to keep Baker as your backup. Maybe, you need a real backup if you have Matthew Stafford, who's got some injury concerns, long-term injury concerns. So they will, continue to get a look. I think they play their best game. They have no reason to rest. They want to spoil it. This is a division opponent. They don't like Seattle. Seattle don't like them. I like the Rams. As far as DFS angles from Seattle, yeah, DK Metcalf. So when we take a look at when we take a look at the Rams defensively, I want to actually look at the last 5 chart. But on the season, Rams, good defense. You could throw a little bit against them. They stop the run. They stop the tight end. So you could throw a little bit against them, allowing 2.2 fantasy points above expectation to opposing running backs. Let me give the last 5 chart here, and let's see if we can glean anything from this. Rams, this is the last 5 weeks. And Rams, yeah, there's a little fall off on the run defense as well. A little bit of a fall off across the board. Seattle, a little better recently defensively. Of course, they got to play the Jets, so that skews your odds. One game against the Jets skews your last 5 because they did the 0. So with all of this being said, Kenny Walker, interesting. Cam Akers, interesting. DK Metcalf, interesting. Tyler Higbee, interesting. There's a couple of pieces from this game that we're going to want for this week, John. A lot of DFS angles.
Yeah, absolutely. In a week where there's not a lot of good DFS plays, you've got a game that both teams are going to be playing all the way throughout. So, and I think you got good pieces in it. So I would agree with you there.
Yeah, got to load up. Again, 42-point total, 43-point total. That's as good as it gets on the slate. There's no better ones anyway. So who cares? Now, one last one. We'll just talk a little betting on this one here real quick, then I'll let you go. Detroit at Green Bay, frozen tundra. Last game of the season. Possibility that neither one of these teams have anything to play for. By Sunday night, I think we'll know. Let me give a couple scenarios for that game. Packers control their own destiny. They play the Lions at home, final contest, and will be firing on all cylinders with all available to keep playing. So apparently, this implies they need to win, and they're in.
Yeah, they would never put a night game on that
could be decided earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So that game's always going to have a meaning.
Let me get the Lions scenario. Falls in the somewhat motivated category. Lions will know exactly what they are playing for prior to kickoff. The only chance for postseason football relies on Seattle losing to the Rams. So effectively, if Seattle loses, the Lions have something to play for.
That's right.
If nothing happens, we know that the Packers need this win. So this should be a great, good call, NFL. All right, good work, finally. Good decision. Frozen tundra.
Yeah, it could be a good one.
Packers at home, 4.5-point favorites. How do you see it going down? Like, what do you do early? Do you bet this early? Do you bet this now and then figure, is there some hedge I can do with the Rams? I mean, what am I doing here?
Like now you're asking. Yeah, no, I would have to think about it heavily. Probably not, but
well, let's put it this way. Detroit's not tanking the game. Like, no matter what happens, they're playing to win.
Detroit's going to play the game out. I mean, it's not like they're going to sit anybody. So they're going to play the game. Like you said, they're going to play. You play to win the game.
It's effectively irrelevant. They're playing no matter what.
Yeah, they're going to play this game no matter what. The book right now needs Detroit because I think a lot of people have that in their mind. Like, oh, Green Bay's on a little bit of a roll. I actually got a bet sometime in November. They were like, when they were 4-8, I got a bet in on the Packers to win the Super Bowl. So it would be a massive payday. It would be like an $80,000 payday if it happened. So
let them win a couple rounds and then we'll figure out how to hedge it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that'd be a nice one if it hits. But it's just one of those kind of playing them. And I mentioned it here when I took the two teams, and now they both are likely to make the playoffs here. When I was comparing Tampa and Green Bay, Tampa still hasn't really figured out the offense. I told you I thought Green Bay would, because I like these young wide receivers. It's just going to be a matter of time, and they haven't really been able to stay on the field healthy enough with Rodgers. But I thought it was a matter of time where this team started to roll, and to me, they're still the best team in the NFC North. They're better than Minnesota. And I think we see it here. I think they do win this game. So I'm going to be cautious about taking Detroit in this one. I think Green Bay comes out and wins this game. I think the points are still, I think it's still a little low on the 4.5.
I like it. I like it. All right, let's wrap it up there. That's the game plan. NFL Week 18. You got the bets. You got the DFS plays. John, I want to thank you for being with me throughout this entire regular season. We'll keep it going for the playoffs. We'll talk some bets. We'll talk some DFS angles. We'll get a little deeper in those playoff slates as they're smaller, and we can really dive in a little more strategically. But you've been crushing it all year. I appreciate it. And of course, guys, if you want to check out John, all of his plays, his sports betting plays and the Sharp Academy training course, all that good stuff. Remember, and you're in Ohio, you got to learn how to bet on sports. You're in Ohio. It just opened up for free. Get on the Sharp app. We got all kinds of sportsbook offers in Ohio as well. So you can check that out under the promotions. You just download it. www. Whatever you get your downloads from, the Android, iOS, you can download the app, or you can go to sharp.app to sign up with code ARMY to get the free month. Definitely recommend doing that. Check it out. And again, you need the app in order to actually access the premium channels, actually follow along with John's picks across all speeds. You're doing that, man. You barely. I mean, you're on college basketball. You're all over the place. You're betting everything. I'm telling you, your master bets all over the place. Walks around,
and it's been
sneaks off into sneaks off like you're at a restaurant on a date. Sneak off to the bathroom. Let me go master bet in the bathroom.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes you have to do that because when you get that feeling, you want to make sure you get it in as quickly as possible.
The right time. So that'll do it for this one. I made myself laugh with that last one, so I am feeling like it was successful. I got a smile out of John. That's a rarity. I feel like that's a win in its own regard. We will see you guys next time. Good luck in your bets. Good luck in your plays. We'll see you back here. I got tournament. We got all kinds of stuff going on. Make sure you like, subscribe, notification. I forgot. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Notification bell. All the good stuff. Do it now. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Take care, everyone.